Hello there, welcome to another training session at Audax K9 Academy. My name is Jason Brown, and today we'll be looking at a training session with Aza, who is here for Board and Train. This session takes place, I believe, during week 4 of Aza's stay. In the beginning here, we did a long down, and while we were doing this down, having a conversation with Lori Christensen, who is one of our associate trainers, she's just off camera in this video. But unfortunately, while the content of the conversation is interesting and could be useful, there were many low-flying planes buzzing us during the conversation. It was just, the audio was not usable. So what you are going to see is several minutes of Aza doing a down. And I think this is valuable to see where she's at this point. Aza came to us really with no control, very little obedience, and certainly very little obedience under any form of distraction. And at this point, we've worked her to the point where she can hold down. She can hold down even when there's things flying around and my kids are running around, or Lori's on the field. She loves Lori, so Lori is a high value distraction for her. And you'll kind of see that as Lori walks off the field. Aza's a little disappointed at that point. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good Friday.
Yeah.
Come. Aza. Nope. Come. You can see what I mean there about the airplane noise, as well as Aza's disappointment to be working for me at this point instead of Lori, who was off. So you're going to see during this session some things Aza's doing well and some things that she needs a little bit of help with. Again, she's not finished at this point in this this session. This isn't her go-home session or anything of the sort. This is a mid-program training session. I like to show long format sessions like this so that you can see how we work, how your dog, if you send your dog to us for Board and Train, how your dog will be worked and how your dog will improve. One of the things that good girl. One of the reasons why Aza was sent to us is she actually injured her owner in excitement, pulled her over a planter, and I believe she broke some ribs. That kind of should give you an idea of how exuberant and how excitable Aza was before she came to us. Good. And there you saw Aza struggling a little bit with the stand command. She's done this a lot, but in this video what you're seeing is her reluctance to fully commit to some of these commands without a little bit of help. And so we're blending help with an occasional lure, or some people would call that a food target, where she should be pointing her nose. And I'm blending that with a little bit of help on the leash. Not correction on the leash for most of these things, but just a little bit of help to help her get in the right positions. You can see she's built a lot of value on these beds, which is a big benefit when it comes to household management of an excited, energetic dog. Being able to get your dog onto a platform or a bed to do a place is a very useful skill, and it's something that we focus heavily on creating a positive experience for the dog. We use a technique that we would refer to as value transfer to make that happen. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail explaining it here, not that it's really a trade secret, but the idea is to really make your dog love this object. You're going to see a couple of times during the session when Aza is told to do a behavior, she actually tries to run back to the bed. And that's just, she really likes the bed. She finds it to be a reward in itself. And at some point, we actually use the bed as a high-value distraction because she's been rewarded for being on it so much. She actually finds it a valuable place to hang out. And we find that sometimes that can have negative effects on doing other things near the bed, and so we make sure that we work in that vein. One of the things that I'm also working on in this session is her ability to work and move away from me with confidence. And here you see she keeps slinking back towards me, And when I say 9, I'm telling her she's about to be corrected.
Good.
And you kind of saw her shut down there. That's a personality thing. That's kind of how she's wired. She just kind of did a fold up and quit move there. And so I got to build her back up here. But I'm not going to let her get away with running off the bed and just trying to snuggle me or hug me or whatever the case may be to get her confidence from me during the session. I'm actually going to move farther away. I'm going to allow her reward to be to run back to me to act. I'm using her meal here too. This is just her food for the evening. And she's getting bits of her food in order to do this work.
Yes, come.
But here's her reward, and again, she kind of got sticky there on the bed.
Yes, good.
Kind of a byproduct of the correction that I gave her, and that was all it was, is a verbal correction. So what you see here is I'm giving her some contact during her reward. I tend to, with a lot of dogs, I tend to not give them very much contact. Most dogs, it drops them out of drive. Something I've actually worked extensively with Aza on. When she came in, she did not want any contact, especially behind her shoulder blades. If I were to touch her behind her shoulder blades, she was actually attempting to mouth and bite me. You'll see during this session I'll do some work behind her shoulder blades with contact and rewarding good behavior there. But in this case, I just gave her a scratch. A lot of times with a lot of dogs, that actually distracts them and knocks them out of drive. And I found that that was the case with Aza in the first few weeks of working with her. And so you notice I wasn't trying to do a high-speed number of reps with contact in between. This is sort of a low-intensity session. It's just a meal for rewards. We're not playing a ton. Spending more time on the duration aspect of these behaviors than I am the high-speed acquisition games. We're going to switch gears, though.
Touch. Let's go. Aza, touch. Touch. Nope. Good. 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 Nope. Good. Yes. Touch. Good. Nope. Nope. Touch. Good. Nope. Stand. Touch. Good. Nope. Aza. No. No. Stand. Good. Touch.
See there, we've practiced down a lot in this session. She did a long down. She likes to do a down. You know, some dogs are sitters. They're always sitting as soon as you stop the action. Some dogs lay down. It's just their thing. Some dogs are standers. Aza is definitely one that when you stop the action, she tends to lay down. Or at least she became that as we practiced the down a lot and put a lot of positive reinforcement around doing downs. And so it became kind of a default. And here I'm just trying to get away from her thinking defaulting to a down is worth something to me.
Yes. Touch.
Kind of an important concept that we don't allow dogs to build a default and then blow off the things that we're actually telling them to do.
Touch. Good girl. No, you'll stay on it. No.
See, there's the down again.
Good.
And that can be a response to me, if she sees me as pressure She may be trying to show me submission. One of the real things I notice working with Aza is if a dog is falling into a submissive posture and you've built language with them where there's an understanding of non-reinforcement with that, not correction. Okay, so when you hear me saying no, what I'm telling her is you're going to be non-reinforced, meaning I am not going to give you the reward, whatever we're working for right then. I'm not going to give it to you when I'm telling you no, because you're not doing the thing, whatever the thing is. And once you have that language built with the dog,
Good. Touch.
you get a lot of ability to take that submission, the submission moments when they might be falling out of behavior and shutting down. You get a lot of ability to turn those into obedience instead of the dog turning off. Now you're going to notice she's still somewhat suppressed here.
Touch.
Not from overcorrection, but just the way she's wired. And so
Good.
just going to work through it,
Good.
working on giving her the reinforcement only when
You get stubborn
she
on
does the
there.
behaviors.
9. Touch. Good.
If a dog sees you as pressure, meaning the dog sees you as
Good.
dominant or forceful, just your presence,
Good.
making sure that when they are disobeying, that presence doesn't soften during the disobedience. That will give the dog a boost of ego and make them think, oh, I'm actually in control. So you saw me there, use of the word 9, that means I'm about to correct you. She didn't actually
9.
get corrected because she complied. And there I dropped a piece of food and she decided she was going to try and take it.
Touch.
And she got a very minor leash correction there.
Good.
A little tap away from me. Back in the direction of the touchpad. But it didn't actually shut her down. It may have actually perked her up a little bit. And here's some contact again. And you see me here. I've pretty much decided the session's about over as far as the touchpad and some of the other work. But I'm going to go into some contact, what we call handling drills, and work on touching behind the shoulder blades and toward the tail. This is an area where Aza struggled, and we've made a lot of progress at this point, but I don't think the work is quite done. Her front feet were also an issue, so you'll see me do that as well, I believe. I also believe it's very important at the end of any session, give the dog some props. Let them know they did good. You know, that could be some contact. It could be telling them they're a good dog, touching, stroking them. When we look at something like that Aza just didn't like, okay? She didn't like the pressure on her back legs. I make sure that goes away when she does a amount of the good behavior of allowing it. And here you'll see her try and mouth my hand, chase my hand off her foot, and we're going to go back to it again here in a second. Also notice this is a fairly submissive posture from Aza.
No.
I didn't put her in this position. She chose to get in this position on her own, and she's being somewhat playful doing it. If I were to have forced her into this position when she was in a stubborn or dominant sort of a mindset, that probably would have actually damaged the work with her quite a bit. but that she got into this position and allowed some of these things to happen. She had a good experience here.
Did you get a scratch? Did I get you all itchy and tickly?
I hope you've enjoyed seeing some of the work from Aza's Board and Train stay at Audax K9. Stay tuned for more of her sessions in a similar format. If you are interested in having your dog trained at Audax, please reach out to us through email or by phone. Information's on your screen there, or check out our website, www.audaxk9.com, for more information about our programs, including group classes, board and train, and private instruction. Thank you very much. Semper Audax.